everyone, my name is Leonard. I'm a nerd, a proud one, and I'm here today to show you a little bit of my Notion and how I use it on my day-to-day life to at least try and be a little bit more productive. So, for the ones of you who've never heard about Notion, Notion is an all-in-one workspace. It basically takes the benefits of all these different singular productivity apps that already exist and kind of aggregates them all in this one amazing and beautiful tool. I think the best thing about Notion is how much flexible it is compared to all these other tools that already exist. So you can kind of adapt everything to your own singular needs and goals. So this is what my Notion workspace looks like, and this is kind of my dashboard. And then I have four main spaces. So I have a planning space, a personal space, so this name is not very adequate, but let's call it personal for now. I have a bookish space, which is where I really get to explore my nerdish side, and then a university space. Let's get started with the planning section, and this is the most crucial section, is the one that I use really every day. So this agenda page is the page that I have open on my computer at all times, and it's where I plan my life every week and every day. So the first thing you have, and this is the main section, is a weekly planning of the week. So I always have the week here on top, and then I have all of the days, and then for each day you might notice that there's this little bar. And what I do is that on top of the bar are all the things that I cannot postpone. So these are things that I really need to do in that day. And then on the bottom of the line are the things that I am hoping and I want to do them in that day. But if for some reason I can't, then I can just take this, and instead of doing it on Thursday, I'll just do it on Friday, and it's okay. It's not the perfect, but I can do that. This really helps me to prioritize things. And this is, I have kind of a button here, which is a new week button, which makes it so much easier to create a new week. So I basically just click and everything is here. I just need to fill out the details of the week. And as you can see, I already have some things fixed in here. So these are things that are weekly. So every week I'll have these things happening, and usually I keep them here so I don't have to keep rewriting them, and I just delete the ones that I'm not doing this week. For example, I'm not doing this, and some things are already there and I don't even need to check what I'm going to be doing. Besides that, on the first, so I do this on every Monday, and besides creating the new week and already deleting the things that are already there, I also check my calendar, my Google Calendar, to put all of these things, like a meeting, another meeting. These are things that are always on my Google Calendar, and that I need to put in here so I don't forget. And I do have this widget for a calendar. I also have a weather, and this really helps me to see everything and put everything in here at the start of the week. So besides that, I have a section here which is more for forward planning. So I have a next week, next month, and future planning, which are currently all empty because my life is just a mess at this point. And then I have a task backlog, and I have some tasks here that I need to do. The great thing about Notion is that in the beginning of the week or during the week, I can just think, okay, on Friday I'm not doing anything on the afternoon, so maybe I'll just do this, and I'll put it there. and I can start to sort of plan my week, and then as the day goes by I can check them, or I can say, okay, I wanted to do this on Friday but I didn't have time, so I can just push it back to Saturday, or because I don't work on the weekends I can push it back to the next week, and I'm sure that I will be doing that next week, because next week when I'm planning I will look at that place. So this is very easy to work with, as you see, and you just kind of can plan and replan very easily. So besides these two sections, I also have a long-term section. So this section is a little bit weird, but it's more for tasks or goals that I have more long-term, and that they're not little tasks like this that I can do like in a day or in a few hours. These are things that actually I need to plan them and divide them into smaller tasks and all of that. But they're just here, so I'm sure I don't forget that. Then I have an archive, which basically just adds all of the weeks that have gone by. So let's go back and let's go to the next section, which is finances. And yeah, it's a very simple one. I just have some cute pictures on the side and then a main database. Then finally, on the planning, we have my habit tracker. So I have some habits. This is a very recent page, but I basically just come here every day. I add a new, and it already shows the month because of the filter. And then I add a new day, and then I can start filling it out with what I've done or haven't done during the day. Yeah, and then I have some cute pictures, of course, because aesthetic. And that finishes the planning section. So first of all, I have a bucket list, which is like all cloudy, inspired and everything. This is not my actual bucket list. My actual bucket list is kind of personal, but I just went and got some things online for you to see what it looks like. So this is my watching you page, where I track all the movies and series that I'm watching, that I've watched, or that I want to watch. So the movie section is not very big, as you can see, because I only started to track this very recently, and also because I in general watch more series than movies. But I have some cute photos and posters from movies that I really like. And then for each movie I register whether I've watched it in the cinema or in the movies, or if I still want to watch it. I also register the date in which I watched it, and I put some genres so that I can later on filter if I want to. In these genres I just use the IMDb ones. Then for the series, it's a lot more complicated. So for the status, I have watching, rewatching, on hold, which is like I need a break now, but I will get back to it. Waiting for a new season, to watch, to rewatch, finished and not finished. Not finished is like I just gave up at some point and I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch the rest. And I'm not showing the not finished and finished, I'm just showing the others because it's a lot of them. But yeah, I basically just keep the status, the name of the show, and then the season that I'm currently at, and then also the genres for the same reason as in the movies. So back to the personal thingy, we have my notebook. So my notebook, this page in itself doesn't contain much, it's basically just a link for everything else. I have notes from the past, it's just my journal where I write my thoughts and feelings and whatever. I'm not going to show you that, just a normal page with a lot of private thoughts. I also have some Notion links, which you should definitely check out. I have some links to some templates, some YouTube videos that I took inspiration in, places where you can get widgets, icons, and even a tutorial. And then I have this dimp area, which is basically, you know, where you're kind of a hurry to write something down, and you just want to write it somewhere, and then you'll get to it and you'll treat that data, either throw it in the garbage if it's not needed anymore, or put it in the right place. this is where I do that. And then I have an archive where I have some other things that were in my notebook but that I don't really need anymore. Yay! We have finished our personal area, so we're gonna move on to my favorite area, which is the bookish one. So let's start with my library. Please don't be scared. This is where I keep all of the books that I actually own. It's sort of like an inventory of my books. And for every book, this is basically a database. For every book, I keep a status. So if it's read, if I'm currently reading it, or if I still need to read it. And I also have, it's a complicated, which, well, it's complicated, so I'm not going to explain it. I also have a rating, so I can put this, but I don't use this so much. Then I have the title of the book, the author or authors, the series if the book has one, so let me find an example. Then the publisher or publishers, so sometimes there are two. The genre, and I always start with if it's fiction or non-fiction, then I put the rest. I also like to put the age, so if it's like adult, new adult, young adult, middle grade, children, or not applicable. The format of the book, if it's paperback or hardback, and then the date on which I added the book to my shelf. So of course I have a lot of views on this database. I also have my board view, which is really nice just to see the books that I'm currently reading, and when I finish them to quickly put them on the read file. And then I have, and I'm super proud of this, so this is very simple to do, but I'm really proud of how much it helps me, like how much a simple thing can help me so much in being more decisive. So I have a TBR table, which is basically this table just filtered by the books that are to be read. Yeah, there are a lot. Let's not look at that number. But basically I have a checkbox here. So this checkbox, it's called the filling it checkbox. And I will check this box whenever I feel like I could read this, like I feel like reading this book right now. So for some books it's just really like a mood thing, but for other books it's not even a question of mood, it's a question that I can't read these books right now. So of course I'm not feeling like reading them. It's also the case of a series, for example, the Graceling series. I do feel like reading the series, but of course I'm not gonna start with the last one. I need to start with the first one. And you are thinking, okay, why is this checkbox important? Because I have a feeling it TBR, which is basically just a filter of the books that I have checked. So because my TBR is so big, it can get a little bit overwhelming to look at the amount of books on it and choose just one. So this is a way of shortening that and making it a little bit easier and less overwhelming. So yeah, this is the thing that I contributed to the world. So this is my Bookstagram page, and I have some nice pictures from my Bookstagram. This is me. And we have a calendar view of my posts. So April is empty for now because I'm a mess, but you can see some posts that I did on March, and this offers me like a full month view. And I can just open a post, and this is where I actually write on the posts. So yeah, this was a big one. And I always like to keep what type of post is it, what is the date that I want to publish it. I can put a link to the photo. I usually don't do that. And then at what status is it in? Is it just an idea? Is it just scheduled? Is it ready to be posted? Do I have the photo but don't have the text yet? Yeah, that's it. And then I usually link it to the book that I have in my library page. And so I have some views on this database, so it's not just a calendar. I also keep like a list. This is just all of the posts. And then I have just the ideas in here that I haven't actually made these ideas happen. And then I also have a board where I can just move things around according to their current status. So moving on, we have my book management page where I track basically my book orders, my wish list, releases that I am expecting, and books that I currently have lent to other people. So this is the book orders part. Then I have a wish list. Then for the expected releases, yeah, it's self-explanatory. And then books that I've lent to other people. I also like to keep tabs on that because I forget everything. And this way, I'm sure that if I forget, Notion won't forget. And I need to keep track of my babies. But this was my book management, and let's go to my book journal. So I used to have a physical book journal where I wrote. So it took me a lot of time, and yeah, we need to save some paper. So I just put everything in here, and it's a lot easier to do everything. So first of all, I have this page called Book Series, where I basically just track all the book series that I am reading, that I've read, or that I want to read. Then I have my bookish lists, which basically I just gathered some lists that I found. So for example, we have the Goodreads 100 more favorited books, we have the Women's Prize for Fiction, we have the Insider 100 books to read before you die, among others. And I just basically I filter by list. So this is the Goodreads one, and for all the books that I've read, I put a picture on it. So it's kind of like those scratch posters. This is my virtual version of that, and yeah, this is the one that it's mostly full. So I also have here the table where I have like all of the books, and one really cool thing is that I can sort it by the number of lists that these books are present in. And I can read really good recommendations. For example, 6 lists recommend this 4 books, so I should probably really read them. Yeah, then I have like, these are like the 2 pages that are general, and then I have 2 yearly sections. So I have for 2021 and 2022, and I can just add on more. So, after a lot of problems with my phone not wanting to record any more of this tour, because it probably knew we're getting to a bad part, let's finish with the university section. So first I have this uni notebook, which is just some random notes that I took for uni, not really important. So then we have my Erasmus page, where I have my bucket list for both my Erasmus, and then like a to-do list, a packing list, essential shop list, and then some things related to my house back in the Netherlands. So not very exciting either. And then finally my dissertation page, which I'm starting to hate just because of the significance behind it. So I'm doing my thesis in Paris, so the whole page is sort of Paris inspired. I have some useful links from my Google Drive and for the overleaf document where I'm actually writing the final version of the document. I have some notes, but let's move to the pages that are actually very important, which are these 3 corresponding to the planning. This is my timeline database. What do I do with this? Everything just basically goes in here, whether it's a task, a meeting, a delivery, or just something else. I put everything in here, and I see it as a timeline. So as you can see, I'm supposed to finish in July. Then we have the board view, which is basically just a Kanban view of everything else we saw, because you know programmers love Kanban boards, so of course I had to have one more. So what's really cool about this is that when I store my meetings, for example, I have all my notes for my meetings in here, but I also keep them here in my meeting notes, where I just have basically a list of the notes, but this is exactly the same thing that you saw before. So it's really cool that I can create these different views and put them in different pages and organize them in a different way. This is the thing that I really like about Notion. Then I have a references database. This references table is actually synced with Zotero. So Zotero is a references manager, and it's the one that I've been using for my thesis. And this is completely synced with Zotero by using the plugin called Notero. So basically, whenever I add any reference to Zotero, it comes directly to Notion and is inserted with here, with its name, title, with the type, the authors. All of this gets filled up completely automatically, so I don't do anything. And it all shows up here, and all I have to do is like insert the status and the topic, which are my part of the work. So this is just the bibliographic info, but a really cool thing is that I have another view called literature review. Whenever I have like relevant ones, I write some notes about it. So I write what was the relevance of this paper or work, what was the problem that it had, what were the methods used, etc., etc. So this was really great because when I was writing the state-of-the-art part of my thesis, I had a lot of information here, and I knew exactly what papers to reread and include in the thesis, so it really made my job a lot easier, and this integration is just, thank God for it. And finally I have my thesis document, which is basically where I've been writing everything. So I know most people write everything directly on Overleaf. The problem is Overleaf doesn't integrate Grammarly, and I really need Grammarly to make sure that my English is correct. So I like to write everything on Notion, and then I transfer everything to Overleaf. So this is my Notion tour. I know, especially in the end, it is probably a little bit messy because Notion stopped cooperating, my phone stopped cooperating, the internet stopped cooperating, and yeah. But I hope you've been able to understand what was going on, and I'm also sharing the template to all of this so you can see it in more detail and take whatever parts you feel make sense for you and use it in your own Notions. I've also convinced some people to finally try out Notion. It is an amazing tool, and it has really changed my life and how productive I am in it. Hope you've enjoyed in general the whole video through all the messiness, and maybe I will see you some other time. We'll see. I definitely enjoyed doing this, so maybe I will try and do some other different kind of content without relying on screen sharing and everything, which is gonna make the editing really hard, I'm sure. But if you like this, please let me know, and let me know what other kind of content you would like to see. Until then, I hope you stay safe and stay happy. Bye bye!